Today, I'm going to be introducing and talking about someone that really is an impactful person on any athlete that ever was and will be an athlete in their lifetime. Today, I'm going to honor the late Muhammad Ali, aka the greatest, as he dubbed himself. Through his life, in his childhood, he didn't have a lot of growing up. He didn't have a lot of problems with his childhood, like some athletes who have like this great story of coming from nothing. He grew up in Kentucky, and actually Louisville, Kentucky, where he actually just recently got buried and had a ceremony there about a week and a half ago. But today I'm going to really be covering his achievements and honoring his achievements throughout this entire life that he had, such a great life that he had. I'm really going to be starting with how he came up, what he did and how he came up through the boxing world, and then really what his impact was, because he had such an impact on people's civil rights fighting and the activism that he had, and just in general his philanthropy throughout the entire world that everybody felt. Muhammad Ali, most people know him by that. But you might have heard that he was Cassius Clay, which he actually was Cassius Clay growing up. He grew up, of course, like I said, in Kentucky, in Louisville. Grew up as a normal life, but once he turned 18, he actually won his first fight. Actually, here, I'm going to cover my sources real quick. I covered my sources in biography.com, NBC News. The Muhammad Ali actually has a website himself that I used a lot of that stuff where he does all of the different things that you want to, like information actually about that I found. I also did time.com, they did a story on him, and also usatoday.com. But it actually, I used a lot of the newspapers just due to the fact that since he recently died, that there was a lot of stories covering his great history. My talking points that I'm really going to cover are going to start with his younger life and how he first got into the boxing ring, and then straight into honoring his real emotion that he brought to what he did and how he did it in the way that he boxed that changed the world. And then I'm going to transition into something more of a philanthropy look at his life and what he did and what he brought to the rest of the world. Not just in boxing, but outside of boxing. He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in his life. And I think he took this and he took it to the full extent, and he took risks. That was what he was about. That's where you got, especially back then with the civil rights fight, he brought that to the fullest extent, and he was the one that was the first one to have his foot in the door, taking risks, putting his neck out there for other people. He was just an awesome person to really live by. Muhammad Ali was one of the best fighters in boxing has ever seen. That's a no-brainer. But it's how it got started that's pretty cool, I think. In my first speech where I really talked about informing him and really kind of introducing him, I said that he got his start because he fought, or he wanted to beat up somebody who stole his bike, and then he got into the boxing ring. But it really turned on whenever he turned 18. He had been training from 12 to 18, and then he won the gold medal at 18. And just to put it in perspective, I'm 20. That's 2 years younger than I am, and I'm just in college. And this kid's a gold medal winner in boxing, changing the world already. He won it at the 1960 Olympics. He then went on after that, just short, 4 years later at 22, he won the WBA and WBC heavyweight title when he beat Sonny Liston, which again, I'm 20, that's just 2 years older than me, and he's already the heavyweight champion of the world. Just put that in perspective of where people are at right now and where he was at, just on the stair step straight to the top. He remains the only 3-time lineal heavyweight champions. He won a title in 64, he won a title in 74, and then he won a title in 78. He also is the one fighter, the Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year 5 times. Only fighter to ever do that. He, I think he was basically the sportsman of ever. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I mean, you think of somebody who is just the biggest person in life ever, and that would be him. He won the Sportsman of the Century from Sports Illustrated. Ali is an inspiration to in and out of the boxing ring, especially when it comes to standing up for his rights. He fought the government when it came down to his rights, because as I introduced him in my speech, in my first speech or my second speech, I talked about how he turned into he transferred over, or not transferred, he became a Muslim and went into the Islamic State. And this he used as his reasoning for not being able to fight in the Vietnam War, because he did not feel like his religion went against it, and what he believed was not against, it was not for the army and for the fight. So he went against the Defense Department, and they indicted him for not for resisting or evading the draft. He spent 4 years, really 3 to 4 years. People say 3, but it was more like 4 of his prime. Which, if he was 22 and already the heavyweight title of the world, and he lost 4 years of his prime, just think about the accolades that he could have acclaimed through that time. But you know, he thought it was more important to fight for his rights and to fight for his religious belief, which I think that is really cool as someone that is not just a figure in sports, which nowadays all you see is figures in sports, but this guy was a figure in sports, out of sports, and throughout his life and throughout the world. He has proved that he's larger than life multiple times, but his fight with Parkinson's disease, which made him made him one of the most outspoken people in the 20th century, silent. He lost the ability to really speak, and he was so articulate in the way he spoke before. Ali's disability and condition led him to setting up the Muhammad Ali Parkinson's Disease Center in Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona. He then went on to carry a torch in the Special Olympics. He was also a big contributor to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which are all very good charities that you can get back, and to younger kids especially, I think is what he's aiming at. In 1998, he was chosen named United Nations Messenger of Peace throughout the world. And the United Nations is just the entire world, so it covered a lot, because that's how he just reached everywhere. He had a very long stretching arm. He was known for his reach in the ring, and he was known for his reach outside of the ring as well. He also set up in Louisville, Kentucky, a center. And I think the coolest thing about this, and what I'm going to end on, is he set up this center where most people usually set it up and just kind of celebrate themselves. But he wanted to set up the center not just to set it up for himself and to show off what he had done, but he wanted to do it so he could inspire and help kids that are younger and really, maybe even in troubled situations, really become who they really can be. Because he believed that no matter where you come from, you can always get to the top. And I know this is not enough for the great guy and great human being that he was, but I hope that my honorable speech to honor his awesome human being presence on this earth will do enough. Thank you. Goodbye.